So here we'll start with this report writing, right? We all know that writing is a skill for communication, for conveying ideas and feeling from one person to another, right? This can be done by writing reports, notices, messages, paragraphs, and letters, right? A report, what it is? A report is a short writing skill describing some event or incident. As I told you yesterday, report is derived from a Greek word that is reporter, right? To describe something. It is a factual description of an event or an incident, right? What are the points you should keep in mind while writing down a report? A report is a piece of first hand information about an incident, occurrence, or event, right? So, it must be brief, to the point, and systematic, right? It must be written in past tense as it is a report of an event or an incident. So, it must be written after the incident happened. And when we take up after the incident happened, so it should be in the past tense, right? It must be given a suitable heading or title, right? The name of the person writing it, date, and the place from where it was written. This will come in the format, right? So it should have a suitable heading or title. Then after it, we will write the name of that person who is writing down along with its designation, right? And on the left hand corner of the page, after giving one line gap, we'll mention the date and the place from where it was written. You must have seen it uh, in the newspaper or in the magazines, right? So the report should be simple. Exaggerations means overstatements and superfluous matter should be avoided. We should not be exaggerating the things. Overstatements should be avoided. Make it clear, concise one, short but to the point, and elaborative one. In the paragraphs, 3 to 4 paragraphs, it must be defined, and we must very much clear, as I have told you in the article writing also, that we must be clear in our paragraphs. What is to be written in the first paragraph? What is to be written in the second paragraph, in the third, or in the last one? Right? The first paragraph must be dealing with 5 W's. What are those 5 W's? What, when, where, why, and to whom it is concerned. Right? So, every detail, where the incident happened, what had happened, when it happened, right? And why it happened. So, that should be told in the first introductory paragraph, right? Then, in the second paragraph, we will define H. H stands for how. How it happened. And that can be divided into one paragraph, 2 or 3 paragraphs. Right? Subdivided it should be. Means first we will tell what was in the initial stage, then in the second, middle part, and then the final one. And here we are supposed to take up eyewitnesses as well as if it is for some incident related to some accident in the uh, railways or so. There we should mention the speech of that person who comes over there to see the incident, right? And the compensation will be declared only in, accidents happen in railways or, some government places, right? Where we have certain, and moreover, it is for the railways only, right? Otherwisely, there will be no compensation. Okay, so this is one thing which we should keep in mind, and then ultimately rebuttal the things. Lastly, the rebuttal things means sum up the above ideas along with the public opinion, right? What did the public say about that? Stating some, advice or alarming situation, or some kind of appeal, right? That should be written at the concluding paragraph. Okay, so this is the way how to deal with the report. Everything must be clear in our mind so that whenever the topic comes, we will start writing on it, right? So these are the things which we should keep in mind. And now I will show you the layout of the reports writing. All right. Yes, my dear. Here it is the report writing, as I have told you. A report is a factual description, right? Or an account of an event or incident or an investigation of an issue or a problem. It may also be an objective analysis or evaluation of something, right? So here is a list of value points that such reports may cover, right? For example, if it is for the event or function, then what should be the value points? It's really important. We should be very much clear about the value points first, as I have defined you in advertisement writing or in notice writing as well, right? So, what should be there? Number one, we have to take up in our introductory paragraph, as I have told you here also, that 5 W's should be counted up, right? So name or the nature of event, that should be told, right? Then what is the occasion, right? Date, time and place where it happened, right? Then who came over here as the chief guest? Please keep it in mind. Take up an example of your annual sports day, or your annual function which you have seen, right, in your own school, right? What happens when it is about some event or some function is there, right? So first we tell where it happened, what is the occasion, right? And then what was the time, date and place where it happened, right, when it happened. All right, then who was the chief guest over there, who was invited as the chief guest, right? Then main point of the chief guest message. Every time whenever there is the chief guest, what do we do? Our principal present bouquet, right, to them as a welcome, welcoming of the guest, right? And then after presenting the bouquet or potted plants, then we start the ceremony, right? And we welcome our chief guest. And the chief guest, after welcoming, just keep a note in the mind, right? The welcome address by the principal, then our chief guest speech, right? And then we describe an account, right? An account of what happened, how the program was taken up, right? Whether it started with the Saraswati Vandana or lighting of the lamp, you must have seen it. होता है ना बच्चे, lighting of the lamp along with the Saraswati Vandana welcome song, right? Then the program commenced, comments, right? And then we started with our, if it is for the annual function, then the cultural programs, right? If it is the sports day, then just revive your mind. What happens? First, the chief guest arrives, right? We present them the bouquets, welcome address by the principal. Then there will be a speech, right, by our chief guest, right? Then before that, we will have the yes, of course, the chief guest address will come, but before that, what should be there? There will be the lighting of lamp along with the Saraswati Vandana, right? Or the welcome song, right? Then annual sports day, just keep it in mind. What is there? There is a, athletic meet ceremony starts up with what? The baton will be taken up, right? The baton, or that, athletic torch, right? The torch will be taken up by all the, reputed persons, right? uh, our international players or the national players, right? Then it comes to the head or the sports boy, right? Then it comes to our chief guest, and the torch is lighted up. That's the opening of the ceremony, right? Right? And then hoisting of the flag, right? Hoisting of the flag, and after that, the address of our chief guest. Yes. And after that, we have certain, athletic meet starts up over there, right? We have certain activities in front of our chief guest, right? If it is a sports day, then definitely athletic meet will be there, right? Some sports events, some cultural events, right? Then prize distribution, which is important, right? The prize distribution ceremony. Okay? And after that, what is there? It is the ending of the program with the vote of thanks, right? Vote of thanks, all right? And then we'll have a comment or the public opinion, right? What did the people say about that program? Okay, so the writers, after that, the writer's contribution on participation, that can also be counted up. So these are the things which you should keep in mind. Now I have taken up a live session in front of your eyes, right? I took up the example of our own function and brought all the things in front of your eyes. This is the way of writing down the report. Alright. You are supposed to write the report in such a manner that each and everything becomes live in a front of our eyes. Right? So I believe it is clear to you. So then, as I was mentioning, let's see, review it once again. So name, nature of event, that should be told. Occasion, date, time and place, excuse me. Then chief guest or guest of honor, main point of chief guest, message, right? An account of what happened, for example, dance, recital, prize distribution, etc. Right? Then vote of thanks, then a comment on the quality of the program, and ultimately the writer's contribution or participation. Right? So this is what we have when it is for the event or function. If it is for accident, then what should be the value points? two types of, majorly two types of reports have been asked in the question paper. Either it would be dependent on the event or the incident or some accident, right? So if it is for an accident, what should be the value points? Number one, what happened, right? When, where, and how it happened. Then people, right? People who witnessed that, vehicles involved. Who were the people or the vehicles involved out there? Then loss of life and property, right? That should be told. Details of rescue and relief operations. How did you save those persons? That is called rescue operations. That should be told. Then the scene of the accident. What was the scene of the accident at the time? Then details of casualties, right? How many, the persons were dead or injured or hospitalized, right? Then reference to orders of inquiry by the government, right? What were the orders of inquiry by the government? They can establish some booth to inquire about the dead ones or the injured ones, right? Grants to the families of the killed and the injured, as I have told you, the compensation. If the government declares, right, for the floods or some earthquake, these are the natural disasters, right? So over there, government can declare some compensation or for railway accident, right? So the compensation for that, you should keep some words in your mind. um, the kin of the dead, right? The next to the kin of the dead, the compensation of 1 lakh rupees was declared by the government to the next to the kin of the dead, or this much to the injured one, right? Then punchlines should be there at the end. A warning, a reminder, a comment, right, on the negligence of the guilty. If you have done certain negligence, that should be told, right? Including government. Yes, if government has, avoided some things, so that should be told. Department or a recommendation on what needs to be done, or giving some suggestions what should be taken up in future, that should be told. So these are the things on which basis we should frame up a report. I believe it is clear to you. Now see, yes, here I have taken up the layout of a school magazine report, right? It's an educational tour to Rishikesh, Mussoorie, and Dehradun, right? 100% after, reading this title, you must be recollecting your old memories, right? Going on some tour, right? So it is also an educational tour to Rishikesh, Mussoorie, and Dehradun. So, my dear, first we are supposed to write the eye-catching title, so that the report, it will, if it is in the magazine or in the newspaper, if the title is catchy, only then we read the whole news, isn't it? Right? So, a catchy heading should be there. A brief and catchy description of what the report is about. That should be the title. Right, my dear? Then the byline. And what the byline contains? It contains a punchline and or gives information like reporter's name, class, roll number, designation, etc. Right? Clear, beta? Then our introductory or the opening paragraph, which is called introduction, right? What are the points you should keep in mind over here? Briefly mentions what happened, how, when, and where. I have told you now the introductory paragraph must have 5 W's, right? It may also contain information about the chief guest and or how the event begin, begin, right? So that's what we should have in the opening paragraph. See here the example. A group of 80 students of classes 11th and 12th accompanied by 6 teachers went on a week-long educational tour to Rishikesh, Mussoorie and Dehradun on 7th October 2000 19 or 16, whatever it is, right? Means it is giving a short description of 5 W's. Clear? Then your second paragraph, which is called the second, the third paragraph is the detail of how it happened. This section comprising of 1 or 2 paragraphs, right? Briefly describing the details of the activities that were carried out, right? So that should be told in either in 1 or 2 paragraphs, right? For example, here in Rishikesh, the group had a thrilling experience of rafting in the rapids of river Ganga, fitted with life jackets and helmets. They expertly see the words and your writing. It should be clear, right? And have you noticed that it is all in past tense? You can use passive voice or the past tense, right? They expertly negotiated the rapids, shrieking and yelling. Yelling, cries, right? And the crying and the loud voice, right? Shouting in the loud voice. That is called yelling. Shout out in a loud voice, right? Then they did bungee jumping from a 30 feet high cliff to the Ganges, right? So, my dear, this is the beauty that you are supposed to write each and everything. How did you start, right? In the second paragraph, the introductory, what did you do, right, at that time, and then in the second, third paragraph, you will define all the incident what had happened over there. Then in Mussoorie, children bathed and danced under the foamy Campty Falls and went on a shopping spree at the mall, right? What did you do over there? That should be defined over here, right? The view from Starling Resorts, where the party stayed, was breathtaking. In Dehradun, the group visited the Indian military academy and interacted with the gentlemen cadets on training there. They also learned some important tips on forest conservation at the Indian Forest Research Institute. Before boarding their buses back home, the young tourists did some more shopping in the Paltan Bazaar. So, what did you do? That is told, right? Briefly, but all things are here. Then the last one paragraph, which is your fifth one paragraph, that is called conclusion. Here it talks about how the program concluded, right? And or gives information about who presented the vote of thanks or the impact the program had on the audience, right? So it is about the public opinion. It is called rebuttal the things, right? Summing up along with the public opinion. If there is some chief guest, so we will have the speeches and those things in our earlier paragraph, right? Here we don't have any kind of speech, so we are not mentioning it, right? So parents welcome their tired but still cheerful loved ones with open arms and a shower of kisses on 13th October evening. The students thanked the principal for organizing this wonderful trip that had lots of learning opportunities and said that more and more such tours should be organized. So, this is the way